Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something right now. Success ain't a bank balance. It's a mindset. You can put a millionaire in a broke situation and they'll find a way to rise. But you put a poor mindset in a millionaire's shoes, give it 6 months, they'll be broke again. Mindset is the real currency. You can take away all the money from a person with a strong mindset and they will build it back. But you can give all the money in the world to someone with a poor mindset and they will lose it, waste it, or never even know how to make it grow. Because at the end of the day, it's not what's in your bank account that defines your wealth. It's what's in your mind. Wealth starts from how you think, how you believe, and how you see the world around you. See, people with a rich mindset look at problems and see possibilities. They see obstacles and think, all right, this is just part of the process. They don't crumble under pressure. They get creative. They ask better questions. They learn from failures. They understand that rejection, mistakes, losses, they're just stepping stones. But a poor mindset, it sees problems and shuts down. It sees difficulty and calls it fate. It blames circumstances, upbringing, government, parents, the boss, the economy, anything but itself. A rich mindset owns the outcome, even when it doesn't look pretty. It says, if I got myself here, I can get myself out. A person with a rich mindset doesn't waste time complaining. They understand that time is their most valuable resource, more valuable than money. You lose money, you can make it back. You lose time, it's gone forever. That's why the rich mindset invests time in learning, reading, building, connecting, creating. It doesn't scroll endlessly looking for entertainment. It's too focused on elevation. Poor mindsets want comfort. Rich mindsets want challenge. Poor mindsets look for ways to escape reality. Rich mindsets are too busy trying to shape it. And it all starts with how you think about money itself. A poor mindset sees money emotionally, fear, greed, jealousy. A rich mindset sees it as a tool, not good or bad, just a vehicle for freedom, growth, and opportunity. Poor mindsets believe in limitations. There's not enough. I'll never make that much. That's for them, not for me. But a rich mindset believes in abundance. It understands that value creates wealth. If you become more valuable, the world will compensate you. If you serve more people, solve more problems, take more risk, then more money comes your way. Most importantly, a rich mindset isn't about flashy things or status. It's about freedom, the ability to wake up and live life on your terms, to not be shackled by bills, fear, or dependency, to be in control. That kind of wealth doesn't come from a paycheck. It comes from inside. From the discipline to grow, the courage to fail, the patience to keep showing up, even when results aren't instant. Money is just a reflection of mindset. It shows up based on how you think, how you act, and how you persist. You don't chase money, you chase growth, and money chases you. Poor mindset blames, rich mindset claims. That's one of the clearest dividing lines between people who stay stuck and people who break through. The person with a poor mindset is always pointing fingers at their parents, their boss, their ex, their friends, the economy, the government, the weather, even fate. It's always someone else's fault. They live in a world where life is happening to them instead of through them. When things go wrong, they ask, why is this happening to me? They victimize themselves, convinced that the world is unfair and there's nothing they can do about it. On the flip side, a person with a rich mindset takes ownership. No matter what's thrown at them, their first question is, what can I do about it? Even when it's not their fault. They make it their responsibility. That's power. That's control. They don't waste energy blaming other people because they know that blaming never changes a thing. It doesn't improve their situation. It doesn't move them forward. It just keeps them stuck in the same place, complaining, replaying the past, and waiting for someone else to come fix their life. Blaming feels good in the moment. It lets you off the hook. But the cost of blaming is your progress. As long as you're blaming, you're giving your power away. You're saying someone else is driving your life and you're just along for the ride. The rich mindset understands that you can't control everything that happens, but you can always control how you respond. You may not be responsible for how the story started, but you're always responsible for how it ends. When life punches you in the face, and it will, it's easy to look outside and say this is unfair, but people with a rich mindset say this is life, now what am I going to do about it? They treat every setback as feedback. Every loss becomes a lesson. They ask better questions. What did I learn? How can I grow from this? What can I do differently next time? That's why they keep moving. That's why they keep winning. A poor mindset wants sympathy. A rich mindset wants solutions. Poor mindsets are reactive. They wait for something to change. Rich mindsets are proactive. They create the change. When you stop blaming and start claiming your life, you unlock a different level of energy. You stop wasting time on stories and start writing a new one. You stop replaying the past and start preparing for the future. There's a quiet kind of confidence that comes when you take responsibility. Even when things aren't going well, you know you've got the wheel. And if you've got the wheel, you can change the direction. Rich minds know that life doesn't owe them anything. They owe it to themselves to show up, take action, and make it happen no matter what cards they were dealt. That's not just mindset, that's maturity, that's leadership. That's how success is born. Comfort zone versus growth zone, that's one of the biggest differences between a poor mindset and a rich mindset. The poor mindset will do anything to stay comfortable. It craves routine, predictability, and ease. It doesn't like risk, doesn't like failure, and definitely doesn't like change. People with a poor mindset think if they just avoid hard things, life will somehow stay safe. But what they don't realize is that comfort becomes a trap. It starts out feeling good, but over time it becomes a cage. You get stuck in the same place, doing the same things, getting the same results, and wondering why nothing is changing. A rich mindset is wired differently. It knows that real growth never happens in the comfort zone. It's uncomfortable to start a business. It's uncomfortable to have tough conversations. It's uncomfortable to try, fail, and try again. But that's where all the growth is. Discomfort is the signal that you're stretching. It means you're doing something new, something that challenges who you were so you can become someone better. People with a rich mindset actually chase discomfort. They look for challenges not because they like pain, but because they understand pain has a purpose. If you look at anyone who's built something great, they didn't get there by playing it safe. They got there by stepping out when it was scary. They applied for jobs they didn't feel ready for. They invested in things when it wasn't guaranteed. They moved forward when the outcome was uncertain. That's what the growth zone looks like. It's risky, messy, unpredictable, but that's also where you find your strength. That's where you build confidence, skills, and character. People with a poor mindset want everything to be perfect before they start. They wait until the timing is just right, until they feel ready, until the fear goes away. But the truth is that moment never comes. And while they're waiting, life moves on. Opportunities pass by. The rich mindset doesn't wait. It acts. It understands that growth comes from doing the uncomfortable thing before you feel ready. There's a cost to staying in your comfort zone, and most people never count it. The dreams that never happen, the talents that never develop, the life that never gets lived. Comfort feels good today, but it steals your future. The rich mindset is willing to feel awkward, to be the beginner, to take the hit because it sees the bigger picture. It knows that the temporary pain of discomfort is a small price to pay for a life of freedom, success, and fulfillment. It's easy to stay where it's safe. But safety doesn't change you. Challenge does. When you push yourself, you grow. When you grow, you level up. That's why the rich mindset keeps stepping into the unknown, while the poor mindset keeps hiding in the familiar. And over time, that one decision to seek growth over comfort makes all the difference. I can't afford it versus how can I afford it? Those 6 words carry a world of difference. One statement closes the door, shuts down possibility, and tells your brain to stop thinking. The other kicks the door wide open, invites solutions, and sparks creativity. What you say, even casually, even in your own head, directly shapes the direction of your life. The words you use are not just sound, they are signals to your brain, and your brain responds based on the instructions you give it. When you say, I can't afford it, you're telling your mind, don't even bother trying. That statement becomes a dead end. It paralyzes action. It confirms lack. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But when you shift that language to, how can I afford it, everything changes. It's a small change in words, but a massive change in mindset. Now you're engaging a different part of your brain, the problem-solving part. You're inviting options. You're giving your mind a challenge. How is a builder's word? It means you believe a way exists, even if you don't see it yet. People with a poor mindset use language that keeps them stuck. They focus on what they don't have, what they can't do, and what's not possible. Their words become walls. But people with a rich mindset use language that creates movement. They speak possibility. Their words become bridges. This difference is not just about money. It's about how you think in every area of life. I can't do that versus how can I learn to do that? I don't have time versus how can I make time? The first response is passive and defeated. The second is active and empowered. Rich mindsets are solution-oriented. They don't pretend resources aren't limited. They just refuse to let that limitation be the end of the story. They say, I don't have it yet, but what can I do to change that? That kind of thinking is powerful. It trains your mind to spot opportunities, to try new things, to ask better questions. Better questions always lead to better results. When you repeat negative phrases over and over, they hardwire into your belief system. You start living by them, often without realizing it. You stop dreaming bigger because your language has already set a ceiling. But if you change the way you speak, you begin to change what you believe. And what you believe shapes what you pursue, what you risk, and what you achieve. Words are seeds. Speak limitation and you grow limit. Speak possibility and you grow solutions. The world doesn't hand out success to those who think small and speak small. It responds to people who act big, think bold, and talk like what they want is already on its way. The rich mindset chooses its words carefully, not because it sounds good, but because it works. It doesn't say, I can't. It asks, how can I? And then it gets to work finding the answer. Short-term pleasures versus long-term vision. That's a battle we all face every single day. The poor mindset chooses now. It wants the instant hit, the quick fix, the easy reward. It's driven by impulse. It's looking for the dopamine, the satisfaction that doesn't require discipline. It chooses the fast food over the meal prep, the scrolling over the studying, the party over the planning. It lives for the weekend, for the moment, for the feeling of, I deserve this now. Even if that feeling costs the future. The poor mindset doesn't think 5 years ahead. It barely thinks 5 days ahead. And that's the trap, because living only for today robs you of tomorrow. The rich mindset operates differently. It plays the long game. It sacrifices what feels good in the moment for what feels right in the long run. It understands that growth takes time and rewards are sweeter when they come from consistency, not convenience. It knows that saying no today can create a better yes tomorrow. It's not that the rich mindset doesn't enjoy life. It just refuses to let pleasure control it. It leads with vision, not appetite. It asks, will this help me build the life I want, before taking action? Impulse is loud. Vision is quiet. Impulse says, do it now. Vision says, think it through. Impulse is about escape. Vision is about elevation. The poor mindset doesn't think it's doing anything wrong. It just doesn't realize that 100 small impulsive choices lead to a big disappointing result. The rich mindset understands that every choice is a brick, and every brick builds a legacy. That's why I keep showing up, even when it's hard, even when it's slow, even when no one's watching. Because it's not chasing the feeling of now, it's chasing the freedom of next. Poor mindset seeks security. Rich mindset seeks freedom. That one difference changes everything. The poor mindset wants to feel safe, to minimize risk, to hold on to what it has, even if what it has is much. It chooses the job with the benefits, the routine with no surprises, the path everyone else says is stable. It's always asking, what if I lose everything? So it plays defense. It avoids risks. It sticks to what's familiar. But the truth is, security is an illusion. The job you think is safe can be gone tomorrow. The company that promises a pension can close its doors. The economy can shift. The market can crash. And suddenly, that so-called security evaporates. The poor mindset never prepares for that. It just hopes it doesn't happen. On the other hand, the rich mindset isn't looking for safety, it's building freedom. Freedom to work where you want, live how you want, earn what you want, and spend your time doing what matters. That kind of life doesn't come from playing it safe. It comes from taking calculated risks, investing in yourself, building skills, learning how to create value in the world. The rich mindset doesn't think in terms of job titles and retirement plans. It thinks in terms of options, ownership, and time. Because freedom is when you're no longer dependent on one paycheck, one boss, one economy, or one system. You've built something for yourself that no one can take away. People with a poor mindset think freedom is dangerous and security is smart. But in reality, freedom requires discipline, vision, and strategy, while security, when misunderstood, leads to comfort zones, stagnation, and fear. It's not that the rich mindset is reckless. It just understands that growth happens when you step out of the box. It's willing to take responsibility for the outcome, even if the outcome isn't guaranteed. That's what separates leaders from followers. One is willing to bet on themselves, the other's waiting for someone else to take care of them. Freedom doesn't mean irresponsibility. It means having the power to choose to wake up and decide what your day looks like, to not be forced to do something just because it pays the bills. That kind of freedom comes at a cost. It demands courage. It demands sacrifice. It demands that you stop chasing comfort and start chasing capability. You have to earn your freedom through effort, consistency, and a mindset that refuses to settle for just enough. When people say, I just want to feel secure, what they're really saying is, I don't trust myself to thrive in the unknown. But people with a rich mindset flip that. They say, I want to build myself so strong, so skilled, so valuable that I don't need to rely on anyone else. Because true security doesn't come from a job, a title, or a paycheck. It comes from knowing you have the tools to win, no matter what happens. And that's real freedom.